Stop it!
Wait, Mom,
Wait now. Stop it! You have to respect me. I'm not your man. You have to respect me.
He respects
You
me.
have to take my place.
Mom, listen.
Come on.
I shouldn't be laughing at. Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. Listen, we are talking to you guys about Family and Fiance, one of the latest episodes that dropped last week. It's been going around. Actually, it's actually reached UK quite heavy, actually. So I guess because of the Nigerian family. But this episode is a little bit triggering. So just to put a little trigger warning out there, if you have been through any kind of physical, emotional, mental abuse, this probably will trigger you because there's some of it in this particular discussion and in the video clips we may play as well. If you don't know anything about this, it's Family and Fiance is a show on OWN which has been going on for the last 4 seasons, where the couples come with their various family members to try and get their approval, and they bear their relationship to their families, and their families will have dissenting views where they are trying to come around and come on board with them getting married. But this clip here, this particular episode has, as I said, gone viral because of this particular scene here where the mother-in-law blew up at the daughter-in-law and, really, I guess, gave her a lot of energy, which after watching the video doesn't seem warranted. Okay, now I know some people have said that they may have been edited. Yeah, I mean, they always say that. But from what we see, it doesn't seem warranted. And so it's triggered a discussion amongst many people around relationships with mothers-in-laws and father-in-laws and various family members. And so today we're going to break down, I guess, this particular scene, but not only just scene. I've got some other clips as well with it. We'll break down this episode a little bit as well and give you guys our own commentary and our own thoughts as we were watching it as well. But I won't be doing it alone. I'll be doing it with the fabulous Jay, another round. And I know you know her, but I'll let her introduce herself first and foremost so that you guys can be acquainted, and then we can jump into some commentary on this. Another round, let them know who you are, and then by all means, let them know where they can find you and what your first thoughts were when you watched this particular episode.
Well, of course, my name is Jay. I own the channel Another Round. You can find me over here on Little Black Book 91 from time to time, and you can definitely find me on Another Round JS here on YouTube. And geez, this episode packed a lot. From start to finish. Okay. Of course, the clips go around showing the mother as one of the main aspects of this relationship, and saying that, the dynamic is probably going to dissolve because of her being in it. However, there's different things. And like you said, trigger warning, because I'm going to use a few words or whatever here, but there is different types of abuse that has occurred within this family. There's outside children that are on both sides of the family. There's people that have never met family that are just meeting, and there's people that haven't met family at all due to certain unfortunate circumstances going on. So there's even grievance going on throughout this relationship. So this is a lot that's going on. And one thing for sure is a lot that we deal with in relationships. We bring a lot of burdens into relationships that our partner may or may not be aware of and may not be equipped to handle a lot of times, because we ourselves are not even equipped to handle it, because we haven't gone through the proper therapy or channels to get those issues resolved or mediated. And so there was this couple was battling a uphill battle. Like it was a lot that was working against them. But I like how by the end, they're pretty much staying strong to each other, which is a good foundation. And yeah, we can get into it.
Let's play a little bit more of the clip, and I think we'll discuss the main talking point, and then we can go around it, because of course there were other things that happened as well in the episode.
Listen to me! I don't want it!
Mom, listen. Mom, you just right now broke her heart.
She broke my heart too! Leave me alone!
Any other day.
Leave me alone! Don't be a whip for a woman!
I'm not being a woman.
He's not being a woman.
Fearless ambassador.
Ooh, there's a lot to unpack in that. Just that little sentence there. First of all, obviously, let's talk about the fact that mother-in-law, obviously, she broke ranks. She got angry in that moment, and she blew up at the daughter-in-law. What was your thoughts around this, Jay? Because obviously, I know you've watched the episode, so this seems to come out of a situation where the mother-in-law had visited her son and his fiance and visited them at their house on Valentine's Day. And she made her presence known. And then obviously as food was cooked and finished and eaten and plates were left, it was then a situation where the daughter-in-law did not pick up the plate of the mother-in-law, and this is what's ensued: the disrespect that the mother-in-law feels about the daughter-in-law, and then she also feels that the daughter-in-law is also very sensitive. So I want to know what your thoughts were to this particular situation, Jay, because the mother-in-law really does blow up in the scene.
Yeah, she really blew up in this scene. And the first thought I really had in this particular scene is Brittany is a better woman than I will be. Because I'd have been done with this relationship. I would like, you know what, when you and your mom have divorced, call me, because you're more in this with her than that. And I'm saying that if I just seen the clip, let's put it like that. If I just seen the clip. Now I do know a little bit more of the background that, you know, he is for Brittany, but it would seem from just this clip alone that his mother is running the show. And he says it himself, like at one point, he's like, Mom, I know I've had to be your husband, your son, your brother, your father. I've had to be all the men in your life. Because this is her only son on top of it. So she relies on him a lot. She's been a single mother and she only has the one boy. So, you know, it is like her and this son. And there's no boundaries in place. There's no real boundaries in place. And to be running out screaming, you have to respect me. You have to respect me because I didn't pick up a plate, because I don't know the culture. And your son didn't tell me beforehand that, hey, when my mom is done with her food, I'm going to need you to grab her plate, because that's what we just do. I need a little bit more compassion. I'm American. I need a little bit more compassion, Mom. You say that you don't have a problem with me and that you love me. And she loves to say this all through the episode. If I didn't want you here, you would not be here. If I didn't want this marriage, you would not be here. Well, have a little bit more compassion that you like something about me, but I just don't know your culture. So don't be mad at me when I make these little mistakes that go against the culture. Just teach me. Because one thing about Brittany is she's very coachable. She's willing to learn. And she's already dealing with the loss of her mother. So it's like, you know what? You could be a good fill-in for her. And I think that's what Brittany actually wants. Is like, you know, I want a mother figure, another one. She has a grandmother, but I want another mother figure. So what better could it be than my mother-in-law? Instead of having this gap like being formed again between me and you, why don't I just bring it together and say, hey, sit me aside. Brittany, I know you didn't know, babes, but in our culture, it is respectful for the daughter to pick up the mom's plate. You know what I'm saying? Brittany, okay, fine. I can go do a little research later on, background, find me some friends is this true? But I'm going to go ahead and do what you asked me in this moment. But to sit here and yell and then to make a deal out of it, because when they were in their counseling session with Tracy, it was like, oh, I was kind of scolded. She didn't use those words, but that's what I got, that she was kind of punished because she didn't know. And that it almost sounded like he took it out on her too for not knowing. And it's like, sir, that was your job. You're within the culture. She is not. And so for a while I was thinking maybe mom don't want her because she's American and she's not of Nigerian culture. And sometimes that does happen, you know, and I'm not going to say it's just with Nigerians or Africans or anything like that. We know Asians tend to be like that. We know some white people that tend to be like that. So people sometimes don't want you dating outside of your culture, and they cause these rifts within the dynamic. So that's what I was thinking at first. But, you know, as it continues, it's just, I think she's scared to lose her place with her son. I think she's just scared to be alone. I don't know if he has any other siblings, because I know the sister is not hers, but I don't know if she has any more children. So it's almost like it's only this one child, and I don't know how to let him go. And then to comment on the soft thing, that's another thing too. It's like, as you want him to have a strong woman in his life, I don't know why the dad left the relationship with you, but it could be potentially because of your strength, ma'am. It could be potentially because you are too overpowering in a whole bunch of stuff. And even to the point that the uncle, I don't know what the relationship to the uncle is, if it's the uncle of the dad or the uncle of the mom. I would assume the mom, but even the uncle is like, yeah, she's too overpowering. he even have concern like she's too much in control of this relationship, and if something don't get fixed there, it's going to be a problem. And as you know, by the end credits, she's still planning the wedding and stuff. So she gonna keep her stance no matter what.
No, yeah, I mean, listen, I see Sean's background. Yeah, I think this is it's a major thing, because I think when we see this situation, I'll take maybe from the man's perspective, and I think what I saw with the situation, I was concerned. I was concerned because I felt like this his fiance already has trauma from her particular family, okay, and that makes me on edge more because I'm now being very much more conscious of the situation with my particular partner, right? I want to make sure that I protect her. I want to make sure I've covered her. I want to make sure that she is getting my full support. And maybe it's the way that I've grown up, and maybe because one, I always say that, I always saw my parents united, even though they don't get everything right, but at least I saw them united. So they always let us know, you talk to your mother this way, trust me, I'm going to break you. Okay. You couldn't do those things to my parents. So I also learned very quickly too, you can't do that if I have a girlfriend. So you can't tell me nothing. So it's the same principle, right? So when I'm seeing him, and I get it, he grew up in a different kind of household. Mum was a single parent. She raised him and pretty much did everything on her own. And he probably feels like he owes her so much. But my thing is, you've now become one with this particular woman, and you're about to become one with this woman, and your mom is now actually punching down on the woman that you're meant to be with. Now, I guess maybe for me, again, once more, like I said, maybe I'm triggered, and I probably am. I was angry because I had a lot of cuss words that hadn't come out, but were ready to come out. Okay, it would have probably never got that far if I was there, because I would have let my mom from early. You can't do that. That's not what you taught me. You didn't teach me that I can just do whatever I want to do when it comes to you and to dad. So I wouldn't expect the same thing from you. Do you get what I'm saying too? So I was disappointed because I felt like she's now getting re-traumatized. And even though the situation may have been quote unquote sorted, which I don't think it was, but quote unquote it was sorted, right? You've had to witness her get blasted. And she didn't actually do, like, if this was a case of maybe she told your mom to shut up, your mom told her to shut up and then wowed out, you could have been like, babe, you was wrong. And then it's like, okay, this is a situation where we're both fighting. But this wasn't one of those situations. This situation felt personal. Okay, and coming again, I'm a Ghanaian brother, and I understand African culture. I'm definitely down with it, right? And I get it. I'm probably more leaning to my more British side than the Ghanaian, but even so, to be shouted at like that, right, and to be screamed at that level, anybody think that she killed her son the way she's screaming at her, right? And this is all over a plate, over a situation the mother had actually overstepped the boundaries. So where I was concerned was that by the end of this situation, we actually don't get a full-on resolution. Well, we do. The resolution I feel is an inappropriate one, is that the young lady and him go and apologize. But I was waiting to see the mother apologize and say, you know what, I came out of pocket. You know what I'm saying to you? I am sorry because I started screaming and shouting at you. I made a mistake. I was waiting for that to happen. And so I didn't see any of that happen. So I think for me as a man, whilst I do believe, yes, and I'm not 100% sure of it, there's some Nigerian culture, I'm sure it is, that they take the plate. I'm not, that isn't the issue. The issue is how she reacted. The issue is the fact that, and it does, I won't lie to you, it did seem personal, like it was like an American, maybe it might be an American girl, and maybe she doesn't want an American girl. Can't say that for 100%, but hey, it could be, because obviously she's an American girl, right? Number two, it could be the fact that I think the mum is just somebody who has just made herself to be a wife of her son, and unfortunately is playing territorial with her son. And this is not it. And actually, this is a bigger issue, because the only reason why it's territorial is because she seems like she has been a mother, not just to him, but maybe she's been a mother to her brothers as well, because she might have played that role from early, because nobody could tell her. Even uncle was standing beside her like, just leave it alone. Yeah, if my sisters know me, yeah, they would not be able to talk to their daughter or son like that. But like, you are moving crazy. That is your son. What? You are not his husband. What? His wife. Get it together. You know what I'm saying? I'd have told my siblings that. You know what I'm saying too. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen, you know, and I don't think they would allow me to have that way either. So my last sentiment on that is, because I'm sure we'll explore more of it, it's just that it's disappointing to kind of see, I think from a man's perspective, how she wasn't protected. And it was really hurtful because you can't fight someone else's family. Only the person who's in that family can fight for you. And he didn't do that. And in fact, he sent her to hell. And what I mean by that is, when you ask me to go and apologize to your mother, you actually now are invalidating what actually happened. And I'm all here for the Christian vibe, but there is times and seasons where you need to be able to hold someone to account, and that's your mother. And your mother was wrong coming at Valentine's, and your mum is wrong now shouting at me. You know what I'm saying to you? And personally, if this is my daughter, I'll tell her, reconsider whether to have a marriage or not. The fact that you have to go and apologize, I'll tell her, reconsider. Because it's not a family. This is the kind of family that when you end up dying early death. Reconsider. If their mum doesn't come and apologize to you, I'm telling you now, reconsider. But because she doesn't have that strong father figure in her life, I know her uncle's around, she doesn't have that backing to be able to have that. Because a strong father would have been like, I know she's not talking to my daughter. That's crazy work. Come here. That ain't happening here, you know? So, yeah.
Hey, Sean, I don't know if you want to speak before I go again. Or if you're there. Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay. So
eating chicken.
I was raised in a Southern household. And of course, as kids, we always are taught you have to respect your elders. But as soon as I turn an adult, you disrespect me. We two grown adults. Okay. I'm over 18 and it's now legal. We can go there. And so my biggest thing with this was when they had to go apologize. That blew me. I already know I would have been done from the mom yelling at me over, I don't know, your culture. I already been done right there, because it's like you lost your daggone mind yelling at me. I don't know who she thinks she's talking to. But me having to go apologize for you yelling at me and you offer me no apology was wild. That was extremely wild to me. And so I like I say, Brittany, she a bigger woman than I'll ever be. God will bless her 10 times over, because I would just call it quits on this relationship. I got to apologize to your mom for her blowing up at me. That only tells her that she can continue to have this behavior, and all I can do is be docile and just take it. And I'm already coming from abuse. So you're telling me to just sit in more abuse that now I'm dealing with my family, dealing with that form of abuse that I've had growing up or whatever. So now I'm going from physical abuse to now I'm going to verbal abuse, and you never know what's next from there. Yeah, no. Yes. And not just apologizing, kneeling too. What? I'll be done with this culture. I'm sorry. No respect to Nigerian culture out there or whatever and stuff like that. But I will be done with this, because I'm like, where are we living? We living in Nigeria. We living in America. Where are we going to be doing all that stuff? Like, if we living in America, guess what? We're adopting American culture. And then as on top of it, once you take a wife, sir, I am your priority. I am your life. So you need to be on my side. We need to be a team. If you're not team with me, then I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. I don't need this. I don't need this relationship at all. So that took me for a loop. I'm not going to hold you. Sean, I don't know if you're there, because Coach had.
Yeah, I'm here. Listen, I'm not trying to upset anybody that, has a Nigerian culture. I only saw the clips, but from what I saw, ain't no way. I'm sorry. There's just no way, and I think it's more than culture. And, Koja and I kind of chatted about that a little bit. I think it's more than culture with that mom. I think there's something wrong with her. Like, there's some type of undiagnosed anger management issues, because the way she's raging out, expecting someone to do something for her that's not even in their culture. Yeah, no, she's got deeper issues. I really don't even think it's more that she's using the veil of the culture to rage out. But the way she's raging out and carrying on, there's more than culture there. So I need her to get some help. And I also, unfortunately, we're in different times. And if I'm not from your culture and we're merging into a life together, don't have an expectation of me to take on your culture. Unless we agree to that, unless it's something I said, yes, I'm okay with it, I'm willing to learn, but don't also expect if I did make that choice that I'm going to get everything right off the bat. I'm going to give it a try, and you're not going to be scolding me and talking to me and then bowing down to her. She's not God. She's a person. So, yeah, no. All of that didn't sit well with me, and I think that lady needs to go see the lady.
You know what the wildest thing that was said about this whole situation that just really just threw me all the way for the loop is him saying his mother is modern. I was like, you are delusional, sir. Because if you think your mother is modern, she's carrying on about Nigerian culture and traditions, you don't know your mom. And you're afraid to set boundaries with her. You're really afraid to set boundaries with your mom. I know it's probably, and I know the chat is telling me that he's the only child and stuff like that. So it's only you two, and you don't want to make her feel like she don't have anybody, but she need to stop that behavior because she will not have anybody. The brother already sounded a little bit distant. She's trying to force a stepdaughter to say mom or whatever. So you're trying to hold on to people. So stop the behavior, because instead of you gaining a new daughter, you could potentially lose your son. You got to just think about it. Like, you can have 2 children and then the grandbabies, and you can have all of that. But the way you're going about this relationship right now is giving you want to be the wife. It's not even giving something like super cuckoo. It's giving you actually want to be his wife. That he has been your husband for way too long. I need that lady to go find her a man. She need to go find her somebody.
Carrying on like that? No. She needs to find a pill and a good therapist.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I do respect you. I do love you. I do love the culture.
She already sees you as her mother. The mother that she does not have.
So that was the actual scene. So to be fair, okay, let me give an indication. For instance, I had a Nigerian girlfriend. I did bow when we first do the introductions. We bow. I even prostrated flat on the floor. You know what I mean? Because I know it's part of tradition, part of culture. I had no problem with that because, again, I wasn't getting cussed out. You know what I mean? I wasn't getting cussed out. It's something that you do to show respect. It's something that you do to show that you respect the culture and the tradition, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Do you know what I'm saying too? But what we have a problem with here is in this situation, when someone has done something wrong to you. And it sets itself up to be an abusive situation when your particular needs are now being ignored, and when things are done as an injustice against you, this is where there's going to be an issue. You know what I mean? Because it's not the bowing that's an issue; it's the bowing with the fact that the mother was wrong, and now she's coming to bow to the mom to ask for forgiveness when the mother was the one that was wrong. So now you're being gaslit. And that's the biggest issue. Now you're being gaslit. And actually, this is the beginning, the start of how you start feeling crazy. Okay? This is how you start feeling crazy. And so for me personally, this is why I said I went back to the son. I get it. He's also been, in some aspect, the son's been abused because the mum has set him up to be a husband, and he's not her husband. He's her son. She has broken the boundaries and broken where he should have been just someone who she was looking after. She's now made him the support and the crutch. And this is what happens when there's a meshment between a parent and a child. Right? So when a parent begins to enmesh, meaning that they start to overbear and overstep boundaries with the child, and they start now coming to attach that child to that place, that's the problem. And so that's what we're seeing with this young man. And so to the point and degree where now he can't even see the fog through the trees, that actually this is something that he should have gone solo to his mum, spoke to his mum and said, Mum, you are wrong. The way you handle that situation, you need to go and speak to my wife. Because in reality, listen, I'm all for respecting elders. Now, there's levels to where I go to, where other people might go to. I can understand if this was a case of maybe she, again, the plate situation. I get it. Listen, it might have been disrespectful. But then the mother has to then speak to the daughter and say, hey, in my culture, this is not how we do things. right? So the fact that the son didn't then go and cover his wife and tell his mom, listen, mom, this can't be happening. You know, if you're going to be doing this, you ain't going to be part of this union right here. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be part of this family like that. And that's why the Bible says two shall become one and going to cleave to each other. At some point, I'm going to have to X you out of a situation. First and foremost, it was a violation. The mom came on a Valentine's Day. Violation. I don't care if your mom was lonely. I don't care. Valentine's Day is not for mothers and sons. Okay, all right. Stop that stuff from when he was 5. Okay, he's a grown-ass man now. Okay, Valentine's Day is for you and your partner to have love and to do whatever you want to do. So the fact that mom even came in is violation, and now we're kneeling and apologizing for something that the mother did. Yeah, that hurt me for her, that young lady, because she's just trying to be a good daughter-in-law. And I hope he sees this and makes corrections.
Sorry, it's taking me forever to get to my mute button. But it was other concerning in that particular moment right there is that you're going to use her trauma in this moment. And I'm talking about the son. You used her trauma saying that, she doesn't have a mother. You're like the only thing that she has close to the mother. Don't do that. She has a mother, her grandmother. Unfortunately, her mother passed when she was born. So she has a mother that her grandmother took her in. That's who she calls mom. So don't sit there and say she doesn't have a mother. Okay. God gave her a replacement. Now she can have an additional mother. But don't sit here and try to play. That was giving me a little bit of gaslight. Like, you just going to gaslight her into giving the apology, because that was for her. That wasn't for the mom. That was for her to sit there and give that apology, to basically say, guess what? You can have a mom now. No, I don't need a mom this bad. I really don't need a mom that bad, because if this is the type of mom that I'm going to have, you put me back with my dad. You know what I'm saying? May he rest in peace, but put her back with her dad, because she was already getting abused there. So why do I want to be an adult still being abused by a stranger now? That's crazy to me. So I was really disappointed in him in that moment as well. Besides the fact that he does need to do a lot more covering, like you said, Coach, he does need to do a lot more covering, because even when he makes the comment on, even without her blessing, we're still getting married. You didn't tell the mom that. At least we didn't see that. That's something that should have been put on camera. That should have been out there with the mom when you had the conversation with the mom. Like, hey, listen, you keep acting like this, you won't be a part of this family. And guess what? Whether you say yes or no, that's my woman. I'm going to go forward with it. So you can be a part of this team, or you don't have to be a part of this team. You make your decision now. But he want to tell her in secrecy, oh, no, yeah, don't worry. Don't worry, babe. I'll still marry you. So therefore, now I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the bad guy because you're in your mother's eyes. That's what's going to happen. Because now I forced you to marry me. That's the story she's going to create, because you're not putting your foot down in front of her to her. Yeah, there's a lot that needs to still be worked on. I know they went to counseling. I don't know how much work they did on that part, or if they worked on that part at all, but that needs to be worked on. And Brittany, she need to work on putting her foot up, because that was the grandma's concern. You're a people pleaser. And right now you're still people pleasing. It doesn't cost me nothing to apologize. No, it's costing you your pride and your dignity right now. Stop lying, because you did nothing wrong in this moment. It is costing you your freedom when it comes to having your own boundaries and rights and things like that, because now she's going to come the next Valentine's Day, and you were going to have to apologize to her on that day for her showing up to your house. So it does cost you something in the long run. Sometimes keeping your mouth closed on certain situations costs you. It doesn't seem like it cost you in the moment. And we like to say a lot of times, apology does not cost me. Apology does not cost me anything when I'm actually wrong or we're both wrong. But when I didn't do anything, the apology starts to cost me things, because I'm now telling you, you can walk over me. You can do whatever you want to me. And guess what? I'm going to be the sorry one. I'm going to be the one who's coming to you to say, you know what? Forgive me. Please do it again. So yeah, we got to get Brittany. The mom, like she said, she is a little soft. we got to get her a little tougher in some areas and stuff like that. But, you know, respectfully, I'm not mad at her for saying, you know, it doesn't cost me much, but she's a better woman than me. She definitely is a better woman than me, because I would not have. We'd have both been sitting there waiting on the apology.
Yeah, that young lady needs to exit. Just leave. There's no, she can't fight with you know, with him or their family. She just needs to leave because he doesn't have the strength to set from. She's completely unregulated. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I would recommend her, unfortunately, you know, you find somebody you care, but those dynamics are going to haunt her forever. He has a lot of work to do. He needs therapy, because if he was raised with that lady, then that was the environment he's raised in. Her constantly raging out when things don't work out the way they're supposed to. So he has trauma responses, and he's conditioned to that. So I don't care how firm of a boundary Brittany has. He still has a lot of work to do, and those family dynamics, that's prepared for a road to hell. So unfortunately, you know, I don't know what they wind up doing. I don't know what winds up happening, but I would say full stop. You know, it's just not going to work. They're too entrenched, and I guess I'm too old, so I wouldn't be suited to merge into someone else's culture. You know, I guess I'm just a little too fixed in my ways. You know, I can make accommodations, but my pride, I will never bow to anybody. I understand you may have your custom, but I don't subscribe to it. And for anybody that's willing to, then that's great. You know, I don't say that's not for anybody else, but for me, I only bow down to pray. And God willing, I will bow down when I meet my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Those are the only times I'm bowing. I'm sorry. Not even to meet the Queen.
You ain't going. Well, we agree on that part, Sean. You know what I'm saying? And Ojo keeps trying to tell us that we got to, but you know we don't have to now. She ain't let that lady know. However, Sean, Sean, you ain't bowing down to the
He definitely bowing down to those things, especially if it's in heels.
What, to the kitty cat? No, we can lay down. I'll lay down. But bow down, I don't need to bow down. We can lay down though.
But I'm just saying, sometimes you even while laying down, you in the bow down position, you know, on them knees, you know. Yeah.
Well, again, it's my choice. You will not demand I do it. It'll be by my consent and my willingness only. Outside of that, no, I don't bow down before anybody to, you know, give deference. I will never do that. One of the main reasons I couldn't join a fraternity when I was in college, those types of ceremonial acts, they just disrupt my spirit. So it can't be me, but anybody else, I have all kudos and respect. I have good friends, you know, who are Nigerians, and I participated in their wedding, their engagement ceremony. Both of them were Nigerian. So I think that helps, because when you grow up in that culture, it's ingrained to you. You don't, it doesn't come with the same, feelings that it does for somebody that's outside of the culture. I mean, I watched him lay prostrate all the way on the ground. I said, wow, that's beautiful. Man, you must love her, because I've never met a woman that I wanted to bow down in front of her parents, especially if the mother or the father is insane like these folks seem to be, or this mom seems to be. So there's just no way. I'm sorry.
I'm with you, Sean. I'm not bowing down unless it doesn't, and I'm saying this unless it's not something that disrupts my relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's for a reason that doesn't come between my relationship with God or whatever. So if you can tell me that I'm not bowing down to worship you or honor you in any type of way like that, like that's one thing. I don't mind like a greeting. I know there's some Asian cultures that, you know, you greet each other in such manner. I would respectfully do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know part of that greeting is not, I'm giving honor or praises to you the way I would give it to God, Jehovah, you know what I'm saying? So in that regards, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? When you do we can do that. But, you know, to get down and apologize to you like you a queen or king or something like that. So, yeah, no, we can give apologies standing up. We can give apologies sitting down. We both could be bowing down on our knees together and apologize together. You know what I'm saying? But I can't do it. I don't know. That's a bit much. I don't have mother-in-law issues like this. I've never had a problem with people's moms in this regard. But yeah. I've never dated a man who didn't have my back against his mom either. So I don't know.
That's very true. And let's play a little bit of another clip.
Around family, is there any time you may re-encounter the predator?
Yes.
Okay. How can we address this now?
We can get it done. We'll take care of it for her. So he's interested in that.
If there's anything I can...
Whew. Sorry, I probably should put. I should have said a warning. I do apologize, guys. I forgot. I do apologize. Anybody watching, apologies. Trigger warning because it is about sexual violence. This scene was actually quite upsetting, and this is why I think we are having this discussion, because I think overall, when there are other situations with the son not covering her against the mum, this is why I said it's more important, because then your partner can get re-traumatized. What you really want to understand is that you really want to be a stopping block between your family your mum who can be aggressive, and your wife. You want your wife to know that when she's with you, you've always got her back. At this conjuncture, I don't know if the wife will ever believe that. And one thing that men, this is what happens, and we end up getting divorced, and we ask the question, I don't know how, is that there are small, tiny infractions that cause bigger breakages later on down the line. I've said this before, that for men and women, it's very different. For women, connectivity is a very important thing. Today, she's good, but tomorrow, she might not be. And when we are not doing the small little things to show that the person is safe in our possession and in our care, yes, she will have to try and emotionally safeguard herself. When she starts doing that, by emotionally safeguarding, she actually creates distance between not just you and her and your mum. And by, maybe she starts to go numb and just says, oh, you know what, I'll just get through it, but I won't say anything now. She actually starts numbing herself away from you too. So actually you start to lose her as well. And you may not recognize that till the dinghy's all the way out in the ocean and she's far gone. And it's all because resentment builds. The resentment, especially if she's not talking up, especially if she's not opening her mouth and really being vocal about how his lack of protection is not going to be it's not helping her, then, you might find yourself a couple of years down the line and you find yourself that irreversible damage has been done. So, but yeah, this scene was quite painful because obviously, again, there was some conversation about sexual violence within the family. So, and how that person was still around her at a given time. What was your thoughts on this, Jay? I know this is quite impactful. So what was your thoughts on this?
It's sad to hear the uncle say this will be dealt with and know that she's still not going to have faith in that. This was going on until she was 25. That's a lot of time. I don't know when it was, what age it started, and it sounded like it started when she transitioned from being with her dad to being with her grandparents or whatnot. Not sure even who the person is. It's giving that it's almost somebody close to the uncle, being why he was never involved and why the grandmother tried to handle it the way the grandmother tried to handle it. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can switch my internet over real quick.
No worries. It's okay. Sean, I don't know if you want to add anything. Oh, wait, I don't know. Oh, wait, no, Jay's back. Okay, maybe not. I think she'll come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, it's giving somebody that's a little bit more closer to the uncle. And it broke my heart when the uncle asked earlier, he was like, well, why you didn't say nothing to me? And she said, well, I said something to somebody and it wasn't handled. Then the grandma steps in and says, you know, it just wasn't handled in a way that you knew of. But grandma, it wasn't handled at all, because this person was still able to do whatever they did to her up until the age of 25. So, and then only to know that the grandma has gone through her own experience herself. And unfortunately in the Black culture, and especially in America, we tend to like do this thing where we say what happens in this house stays in this house and it get handled by this house, but a lot of times it never gets handled. You know what I'm saying? And for a person that has gone through her own experience, like this young lady, there's a lot that goes on through our heads. One, we think sometimes we're responsible for why this is happening to us. We're the reason that this is happening to us. So we start putting shame on ourselves. Then when you tell somebody and it doesn't, nothing actually happens, you feel isolated. You lost your voice in that moment. You know what I'm saying? And so when she presents as weak to everybody else or soft to everybody else, is because she's lost her voice so long ago. She doesn't respect trusting anybody else in these moments to like really protect her anymore. She has become the protector. She was even with Tracy, and Tracy had to tell her, no, you need to stop protecting your family because you're the one who has been violated. But she still feels in her space that she has to protect everybody else because now she has taken on the role of protection because nobody has protected her. And it's a hard place for her to be, especially with no voice, you know. And it was really, really hard for me to like hear a lot of this stuff, because we do as women a lot of times, and I know men do have it, the numbers have gone up with men too, but we are pretty much still at a 9 out of 10 that this happens to us. And it continues to happen because when we say something, things don't go done. They don't get checked. They don't get handled the way it's supposed to be handled. And like the grandma said, well, I didn't know what to do without breaking the family. Well, the family's broke, ma'am, because look what it's doing. You broke her and she's still part of the family because nothing was done. You're teaching her that I can't trust people. I can't trust the people that's supposed to be closest to me, and I have nobody. I have to fight all of my battles by myself. And for her to have come from losing her mom, being abused by her dad, then losing her dad, then it's like, you're my last hope. And nothing still gets done. You know what I'm saying? And it brings me back to the time where, you know, and when I say this, hear me out, people. When I say this, I have mad love for my dad. I have mad love for my dad. But my dad beat me one day to the point I had scars all over my body. And I knew I was going to get that beating before I got it. And the first people I called was my mom and my grandmother. And their plan was to drive me back home, because I ran away from home. I ran away from home for that moment. I was like, I can't be here, because if I knew I was not supposed to get another phone call home. And I got that phone call home, and I just like know I was going to be in trouble. The beating really occurred because I ran away. I wasn't home when he got home. However, their plan was, let's drive you back home and it's going to be okay. That was their plan. It's going to be okay. Despite me saying, no, it's not going to be okay. Trust me, it's not going to be okay, because I was already told not to get in trouble. It's not going to be okay. That in that moment right there, that taught me right there. And this, did this occur before my violation? I don't even remember if this occurred before my violation already, but that in that moment right there told me I have nobody. I cannot even call on my grandmother or my mother to protect me from my dad. So it just put me in a hard space where it's just like, I have to be for myself. And then when it comes to relationships, you do get in a space where you get a very defensive, or you get very certain type of way in the relationship, because it's just like, you know what, I'd be damned if anybody put their hands on me. I'd be damned if you do this to me. So you get in a shell that people have to like fight you out of. You know, you don't trust the men that you're supposed to be with because you just feel like they're going to let you down at some point. You become overprotective of everybody else around you because you was not protected. you have this defensiveness up that is always there. And luckily in my case, I wasn't so bitter, but a lot of women become a lot bitter towards people around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a friend that told me they would have never believed that I've gone through half the stuff I've gone through because of the attitude that I carry. But a lot of people be bitter towards the world. And it was hard to hear that young lady say, I thought about unaliving myself. Because sometimes you do, especially when it's repeated sexual, relationship type advances at you unwarranted, when it's repeatedly happening to you. Because at some point and when you hear stories of women that keep having this happen to it, they blank out. They have out-of-body experience because they don't want to be in that moment and that situation right there and stuff. And so they're basically numbing themselves. So they're kind of dead on the inside, and they become dead. They do this so much that they become dead to the world, and they're just walking shells. Her life was robbed out of her at a very early age by too many people that she trusted. And it's just sad that we live in a culture that allows that to continue to happen. You know what I'm saying? I was proactive with my daughter, very proactive with my daughter. If somebody touch you, let me know. I don't care if they threaten you, they tell you they're going to do this, that to you, let me know, because that's not what we're going to do. And I listened to her. If somebody touched her, we on it. We stopping right there in the middle of it and stuff like that. Somebody's giving you a bath that's not supposed to be giving you a bath. We're not doing none of that. I need to know all of these things. But it might have made me a little bit more of, I'm gonna lose the word right here, but a little bit more of an overprotective mom in some regards. You know what I'm saying? So I could be I could have potentially actually pushed my child away from me being so aggressive in some of my ways. So I don't know. It's just a fine balance, but I'll stop there. And it's okay, y'all. I've gone through things. I've dealt with this. I'm in a space that I can share these things with y'all now or whatever and stuff. But I do thank you guys for the love in the chat. Appreciate you.
So if you want to add, Sean?
Oh, my bad. I was just getting on my elevator.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah, I think, Jay, we love you and your bravery and, when talking about these things. And, I just think it's super unfortunate that, we have, these instances that happen all too often. And then when they do, people aren't even supported to the level that they need to be supported, and specifically women. So it just always disheartens me to see this. And it's like more trauma, It's like the trauma was never handled with this young lady. And then now she's got the trauma of dealing with, his mom, who is, very abusive. So it's like, when does the healing ever happen? So it's just so sad.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, thank you, Jay, for sharing. It's always appreciated because I think it brings it closer to home for a lot of people as well. And I'm also sorry that you're going through that as well. And this show just highlights the difficulties within the family dynamic for people, and the difficulties that happen in terms of what happens when people are not able to protect people around them. And because people turn a blind eye and stuff. And I think obviously with this situation too, this young lady that's gone through this as well. That's what I was saying about how it's heavy for her, because there was no protection from. I mean, I'm listening. I'm not blaming the grandma, because the grandma was trying to do what she thought was best to do, to try and resolute the situation. The uncle, I can't say 100% was trying to necessarily turn a blind eye, but it seems like he may have missed some things as well. So it's like there has been unfortunate situation where there has been missed opportunity for protection, and that just that in a sense puts her in a very precarious position all the time when it comes to family. So it's tough. That's what I'm saying to you. It's tough, and that's why you know, how important it is for the young man to be able to see where he needs to fill in, you know, where he can support her, where he can encourage her, where he can protect her and make sure, because she hasn't had that, you know? So she hasn't had it. Sorry, my voice. She hasn't had that from her family. So this is make or break. For me, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, I looked at it and I saw the resolution at the end and I was like, this is make or break. Because it's like, yeah, we're having counseling. And I hope the counselor is going to be pointing out areas where he can start to emotionally begin to protect her and cover her and make sure, because one of the greatest things that happens is when this happens, you lose your voice. And so when you lose your voice, you can't stand up for yourself. It's harder to stand up for yourself, I should say. It's harder for you to stand up for yourself because you don't want to be taking up any more space than you did before, because beforehand you weren't trying to take up space and you got robbed of your sovereignty. You know what I mean? So now you're not trying to take up any more space so that you don't get noticed. And that's what she did with the mother. And that's why I said that, again, the son has to step in to make sure that his wife, his future wife, is covered. Because if it's not the mother, it might be someone else. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, again, she's experiencing that aspect of not being protected. So I hope he sits down and reflects on this. I hope that anybody else watching it starts to see how maybe they can make sure they're protecting their partner. You know, there's sometimes, you know, you got to step in, you know, and cover your person. And sometimes when people have gone through things, it's us against the world. You know what I mean? It's us against the world. So regardless of what happens, you know, we're out there. It's me and you. You know, don't let someone else feel like they're having to fight alone when we're together. You know, so yeah, that was a major thing for me. And I the mother's going to be a meddling person, so it's like, how is she going to handle now this situation when they're married? You know, has boundaries actually been told to her that she needs to know her boundaries? I don't even remember. By the end of the episode, I can't remember if they managed to even resolve the boundary issue, because I don't think they actually addressed that. Did they address that, Jay? I don't think they addressed the boundary issue.
They didn't really get into the boundaries issue of it all and stuff. It was just, even to the point Brittany was just like, I don't believe that, you know, she just took it well. They was like, why you don't believe that she took it well? It's just because I know how he is with his mother. I know how he is. And it's nothing more disheartening to find your what you believe your person to be. You get to a space where you tell them about your thing. And, you know, Coach, me and you are kind of like the same. It's like when we actually tell somebody about our story, we're trusting that they know what to do with that information, that they know that information was very sensitive and dear to our heart. And we opened up a vault to that person and said, hey, come on in, get to know me. And for her, I know in that moment, it was like, I told you this story for your protection. I've been strong all this time, and I'm tired of being strong by myself. So I'm telling you this story to help be strong with me. And now I'm fighting you and your mother on top of it too. It's like a big letdown. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I love you so much, but how do I survive in this? And unfortunately for her, because she's not healed from the childhood abuse that she endured, she's walking into adult abuse. You know, and she's still allowing the things that have happened to her in her childhood progress into her adulthood and now into her marriage. Because one, she still doesn't have boundaries in place. You know what I'm saying? That people pleasing aspect has came from trying to survive for all the years that she was being violated by whoever that was in her family that did that much. The people pleasing, like we heard from Will Smith when he said how his father was. It started with her dad coming home and beating him for whatever reason he beat him for. You know what I'm saying? And it could be as simple as grief. It could have been as simple as her dad was grieving from the loss of the mom and stuff like that, and took it out on them. I don't really know. She unfortunately, that part of her would never be resolved because she don't get to talk to her dad anymore about, why is it you did this to me? And the only solution is that we're just going to remove this person from this thing, from being around her or whatever, stuff like that. That doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good start, but it doesn't really help. And so I just suggest that she does go and do the therapy that she needs to do to get in a space where her personal boundaries and limitations are up in place for her sake. You know, for her sake and her safety alone and stuff like that. She can't depend on, unfortunately, her fiance or her husband now, however far they are right now in that relationship, that he's going to be there because he has to work through his own thing with his mother. So there's a lot different things that still need to be worked out with this relationship. The counseling that they're doing is a good start, but it's not the finish in.
Any other thoughts, Sean?
I mean, I've just never been so dead set on two people that I really feel shouldn't be getting married. Like, I mean, there's a sea of red flags here, and it's just so sad. There's so much trauma, because he doesn't even have the skills to deal with what she has going on. He has his own trauma, I'm sure. And again, I said it before, the way that mom reacted, he's had trauma. I can almost, without any certainty, that he's been verbally abused and likely physically abused growing up as a child. So they should not be getting married. I don't think there's anything that's going to healthily come through because they just have so much independent healing to do. And I know people fall in love or they feel like they find somebody, but love isn't enough. Love is important. It's a key ingredient, but it's not enough. They're just going to bleed out on each other. And it just breaks my heart to just hear the depths of unresolved. I mean, she's got so much trauma, and it's unresolved. Unresolved. And then she's in another situation where she's likely going to be abused in some shape or form, whether it's by him or by his family. So the whole thing just breaks my heart. And even her family isn't equipped because they couldn't even handle, when she was violated, they couldn't even handle that the right way. So I'm sure she probably feels like this is somebody that loves me, somebody that's going to take care of me, so I can just accept, but she deserves to be loved wholly. She deserves to be protected. She deserves to be cared for. We were watching your video earlier, Kojo, with Ali and AD. She deserves that kind of love. She deserves for a man to look at her and want to take care of her and want to put her in positions where she's not going to be harmed and she's going to be valued. So, yeah, so it's just very disheartening, the whole thing.
Any last thoughts, Jay?
I'm with Sean. They, as much love is there. It's kind of like with Tay and Frisco. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other things that needs to be handled in the situation first. And love does not always resolve a lot of things. You need a partner that's going to cover you and that's going to protect you and that's going to be there for you the way you need them to show up for you in situations. And she needs the counseling and therapy and whatever else support that she can get individually. He needs to do his individual work. Like Sean said, they both got a lot of work to grow. They can get married. They can get married sometime later. They can postpone this. I know they have it, like, according to the show, 4 months from whenever it took place, the recording took place, but they could postpone it, and just work on themselves a little bit more individually. They've only been together probably a year to 2 years at this point or whatever. there's a lot more time. There's a lot more time that they can just go ahead and get to know each other. It give her more time to understand their culture. You know what I'm saying? To learn the culture at the same time, so she'll know the do's and don'ts of it or whatever. It'll give her more time to build a relationship with the mom, build a relationship with her own family. You know, they don't have to rush into this and think that, oh, we'll be each other's survival, because a lot of times we rush into situations we're not prepared for. We have our own mess coming in, and we're just bringing all that mess in, and we're dumping on the other person, and now we're fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? And my biggest thing is, I don't want to be in a relationship I'm fighting you. I'd rather be in a relationship that we're fighting everybody else or anything else together, but I don't want to be anything that I'm fighting you. I don't want to wake up and you're my enemy. So we don't get if they ever get married or anything at the end of this one. I know that they were still planning the wedding. The mom was still heavily involved in planning the wedding, and they were going to have 2 separate weddings, one traditionally African Nigerian wedding and one American. So I don't know, but they could save all that money, put all that money into therapy. Just go and do that. And listen, if you are somebody that is out there who has been abused, dealt with abuse, you need safe places to come and talk to people. We are always here. We're always a safe place. Kojo has his coaching sessions and stuff. They are very helpful. They're useful. Me and him have talked on one-on-one times, many times, because sometimes, as much as you don't think, you're still affected by some of these things. Because I know I'm one of those persons. Oh, it was in the past. You know what I'm saying? I take ownership for this part and stuff like that. But you still are affected, and it shows up in a lot of times in different ways and different relationships that we have with people. And so it doesn't hurt and cost you nothing to talk to somebody about it, especially people that have gone through it as well. I know me and Sean have talked, or sometimes, because I could be a little bit on the victim blaming side, as they like to say, but I'm one of those protect you from not getting into it, you know what I'm saying? But as a kid, you can't not get into it when you have adults that you are supposed to depend on, the ones doing it. So, you know, if you're an adult, I mean, you're a child, there's no protection there. So you still need somewhere to talk to. You still need somebody to talk to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always a place to talk to. You can always find me on my email. My email is anotherround010@gmail.com. You can always come and talk to me and share your thoughts or whatever and stuff. I'm very confidential. I will not share anything that me and you discuss. I know Coach is the same way as well. But we are a community, and if nobody's going to protect us, we have to protect us. So we're in this together.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Jay and Sean. I think those are very powerful words. I think this episode has definitely, like I said, highlighted a few things. I think for the men specifically, you know, about protecting your partner, protecting your family, protecting what's yours, and how I think Sean mentioned this a couple of days ago as well, that provision and protection isn't just the physical, it is also the emotional. And that is just as important for men going forward in 2025. And, you know, how you look after your family, how you emotionally protect them from situations like these situations here. And also for the couple as well, I hope they take a bit of time just to really do some soul searching, a little bit of therapy, counseling, really some coaching, just kind of just really nail down maybe some of those aspects that are a little bit loose right now. Boundaries of family, boundaries of each other as well, so we don't become codependent. And because obviously I think he's escaping from his mum as well. So there may be some codependency that may happen in his relationship, which actually could make it 10 times harder as well in their own relationship, because, you know, they're so dependent on each other. So a lot of these things, again, it's just, I hope that they were able to get that from the show. I hope that the show has kind of directed them towards those resources and stuff so they can actually heal, because she's got a lot to work through and he's got a lot to work through in terms of just learning how to protect. So I do hope they start doing that as well. But yeah, listen, I know this was a heavy one. But I think it was definitely a good subject one to talk about as well. But before we go, obviously, Jay, where can they find you? How can they support you? How can they get behind you?
Again, you can find me on YouTube at Another Round JS, all together, one word. And you can find me Again, on email, it's anotherround010@gmail.com. And I'm not been as active on my Instagram. I need to get back up more active on my on my Another Round page. I'm too active on my personal page, but it's _JS if you want to find me on Instagram. Yes, Frida pause. He need to go to bed. He be out working out super late and stuff. I know he tired.
Okay, I'm trying to go to the gym in a bit. But listen, hey guys, thank you again once more, audience. We appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow, I'm sure, because I still need to do the Diana live as well. So, and then obviously Carla as well. So I got 2 more lives to do tomorrow. But yeah, listen, audience, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will see you again very, very soon. Much love, much appreciation, and yeah, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Okay.
Are you done? Are you done?
Little black book. You know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is.